61 years ago, on March 21st, 1965, Martin Luther King Jr. led a civil rights march from Selma, Alabama to the state capitol in Montgomery. Nearly 3,000 people participated in the event. The 5-day march was meant to protest the denial of nationwide voting rights to black people. Several organizations donated meals, equipment, and necessary services, as many camped out along roads after covering almost 10 miles a day. The marchers had received a court order allowing them to proceed along U.S. Route 80 without interference, and they carried out their journey under the protection of federal troops. Alabama Governor George Wallace, who opposed the march, was ordered to refrain from harassing or threatening the demonstrators.